In 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is Project Airwaves.
This is Lynn.
I'm D.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm here.
Oh,
yeah.
This is fun. We're sitting in like an empty room.
It's practically empty. No couch, no TV.
It's like we're nations.
I wonder it's a good thing there's no echo, though. There was no kind
It's
of
a little echo. I don't know if they'll be able to hear it, but it's a little bit.
Hopefully not.
It's okay. We don't have soundproofing. You'll live.
Mm-hmm.
A little echo never killed nobody.
We'll be all right.
All right, kids, you guys and gals and everything in between. How y'all doing? We're back at it today with another episode. We're just going to keep this one kind of brief, kind of quick. We're working on some new formats. We're trying some new things. Just, make sure the episodes aren't super duper long. We want to make sure you guys can, hopefully listen to the whole episode in one sitting.
Tune in and tune out in one sitting, preferably like a car drive from point to point.
Especially since we moved over to YouTube and, watch time is a thing, interactivity is a thing. So we want to try and make it, as compatible between all platforms as humanly possible. So we thank you for your patience and understanding.
Short, sweet, simple, straight to the point.
Before we jump into it, please do not forget to check us out on Patreon.
That thing.
We love you there. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons who are contributing every month. You guys are amazing, and we will be doing shout-outs very soon. Go ahead and check us out on Facebook. If you're not hearing this on Anchor, go over there. If you're not listening to this on YouTube, go to Anchor. You can listen to us on both sides.
We have two sides.
We have a lot of sides. I mean, we'll stick with the two.
We'll stick to the two sides.
We'll stick to the two. If you want to see our faces, go to YouTube. If you want to hear our voices, go to Anchor.
Yeah.
We have an Instagram. We also have a Twitter. We have a Facebook, projectairwaves.com. And if that's it and that's all, let's go. All right.
What's the plan for today?
Hike, not just any hike. We're going. We're going to Lone Mountain.
We've already done it.
We've talked about this. We've done this. This will be our fifth, sixth trip?
No, way too many.
You've gone more than me.
No, honestly, the first time I went was with you.
Was it?
Yeah, we went last year for my pops'
that was last year.
Father's Day.
Holy crap.
Because it was me, you.
That was last year?
My brother.
You sure that wasn't this year?
No, it was last year. It wasn't this year. Because this year, Father's Day was just at my dad's house.
Yeah, you're right.
And my dad came with. We got all the way to the peak of that mountain.
Yep.
And that mountain is a motherfucker.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Took pictures.
That mountain is a motherfucker to get.
You never posted those, did you?
No, I didn't even think about it. But
I
do have
it this time.
Well, so the second time we went, which was this year,
yes,
we only made it up to the bench.
Yeah, we only made it because we did a little photo.
Which I do have the pictures for.
You
that.
do? Okay.
Yeah, so I have an actual content pictures, and it's a really, really good picture.
This time we want to go to the top.
Yes. So for people who don't know, when you go to Lone Mountain, which is on the back side of town, like near Cheyenne, near the 215, super duper west coast, the mountain breaks off into two pieces. It takes 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to get up to the mid-peak, which is already, the halfway mark of already overseeing the city.
Yes.
And it's just a constant 45-degree angle.
Yes.
And there's a concrete, I don't know how they got that bench up there, but there's a concrete bench.
Somebody was a bunch of assholes.
Dude, it's a concrete bench. I can't physically think of how you got a bench up a mountainside where it's just completely stiff.
I mean, it's a troll bench. I mean, if you think about it. It is possible. It'd just be annoying. So imagine you have 2 bags of, instant concrete.
You know what we could do? Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe they did make it. I didn't think about that.
And they just carried it up.
When we post this episode, maybe we can put the JPEG of us on the bench.
Yes.
Because I haven't. It looks pretty dope.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to.
Yeah,
we're going to show you guys pictures because we go on a lot of adventures. Now we're getting used to, I guess, like cataloging everything with pictures and video. Now that we're out on the interwebs.
Yeah, we're actually doing something with our lives.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look it up later. To get to the peak, though, that's going to be a fucking bitch. Because it's what was it when you got over here?
It was like 101.
I think it said it's supposed to be because we're going to go at 6.
Yes.
It's going to roughly be around 104.
Yeah. I can handle it. You can handle it. We've done worse.
Miserable.
We've done worse.
That sounds miserable.
But I need to feel alive.
What's SpongeBob saying? I need it.
I need it. Yes, that's terrible. That's a terrible episode.
So we'll that was when he needed oxygen.
Yes.
When he was in Sandy's. I never thought of her name.
Water.
Her name is Sandy Cheeks.
Sandy Cheeks. Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
And she's a squirrel.
They were able to get that in there.
Yeah, we're actually. That's something we have coming down the road. We're going to do a nostalgia reaction video.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
One of our first reaction videos. It's going to be amazeballs.
We should be able to get that set up relatively soon, I think.
Yes. This hike for those of you who live in Vegas, which I'd imagine good chunk of you do, feel free to go climb the mountain. Please don't do it if you're like an amateur hiker. This is not.
It's pretty physically demanding just because it is a straight uphill shot.
It's a straight incline.
There is no flat surface, but the benefit of it is that you get the whole view of the whole city.
I would say go to the bench.
The bench is good, yeah.
For like beginners.
For beginners, that's a 15-minute.
If you're more advanced, like what we're gonna do, and you go to the tippy top, that one you're gonna want to make sure you have some water. Make sure you're not going up there with busted joints and stuff like that.
Your shit needs to be able to survive.
Yeah, because it's all just, endurance pretty much towards the top.
Anxiety-ridden.
You're right. Not to mention, like, you get to the top and there's very little standing room.
Yeah. It's small. We were sitting on a really small platform, but we were still able to get...
This asshole decided he wanted to walk to the precipice and take a picture damn near like almost over the edge.
It's my background.
No, I'm good.
It looks great. And I was wearing my Punisher shirt.
Right. And it did look badass, but no, I'm good.
We're doing that.
No.
Yes.
No.
So what are we talking about today? What's the game plan?
All right. So in today's episode, at least as far as like the meat and potatoes, we're going to briefly, no, that's a lie. We're not going to briefly. We're going to try and be a little more in depth. So without hitting so many topics, we're going to focus on one, maybe two topics that we can just kind of talk about, get our opinions out, get our viewpoints out, and then see what you folks have to say in response, because we do look forward to your comments. Feel free to comment us. Yeah. So, we wanted to talk about really quick about this whole Afghan Kabul situation with like how it all happened, because we supposedly were pulling out troops. Supposedly the army was trained,
and you had to give me a little bit more insight, because I remember when was it that we went to the bar? What was that like? It was 2 weeks. It was 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
So after this last episode, we'd mentioned it, or he'd mentioned it to me, that I didn't know what was going on, because we were at the bar. Just like it popped up on TV. Yeah. All I saw was that there was a plane leaving Afghan, and a bunch of refugees were trying to get on the plane while I was trying to take off. Like thousands.
Yes.
And a good chunk of them we ended up taking with us to the States.
Yes.
And I don't know. He's telling me it was roughly 300,000. I thought it was 33,000, because 300,000 refugees is a lot.
You almost had a countrywide evacuation.
Yeah, because the minute that happened, the Taliban came in and
because the Taliban. So I'm sure all of you are aware of it. If you're not, it's a simple Google search. Everybody's talking about it. It's been on the news for weeks. But how it was is we went over there. We've been over there for 20, 30 years. We trained their army to, defend them against the Taliban.
Correct.
We helped out. We gave them supplies. We gave them ammunition, planes, blah, 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 the military, manpower, blah. So we trained all these people. And then, Trump started pushing for us to bring the troops home, because actually back in Obama's time, they were talking about bringing the troops home.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen. Trump's time, they started bringing the troops home. But now Biden, they were really hitting that hard. Like, we're bringing the troops. We're withdrawing from Afghanistan, blah. Everybody was all happy. So then there were some questions pointing at Biden, like, hey, do you think the Taliban is going to take over, if we leave Afghanistan?
Dude, not only within a week's time?
No, it wasn't a week. It was like, I think, a day or two.
Yeah, like day or two.
They literally walked into the president's building or whatever. Walked into his office. He was like, yo, let me get my things. All right, deuces. Y'all have fun now. And he dipped.
Yeah, and then they just took over.
They dipped. No, he left before they even got there. He got word that they were coming, and they packed all their shit and left.
Yeah, because they had no way of defending themselves.
So the Taliban just walked in and took over.
X amount of years of spending all that time there, and in one day everything got taken
away. Yeah, it was, I want to say, within 24 to 48 hours,
That's
maybe 72.
That's just like the equivalent of thinking that you've killed cockroaches, and then...
They all just come back.
They all fucking come back when you turn the lights on. That's just crazy.
It's crazy because, they just asked Biden. They're like, Biden, do you think, the Taliban will be able to take over if we leave and blah, blah, blah. And Biden was like, no. That won't happen. We've trained them. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen at all. So now Biden's backtracking. He's like, oh, we got bad intel. We didn't expect this. And now the Taliban has... It's pretty much... It reminds me of Iron Man. You remember the first Iron Man movie?
Yeah.
When Tony Stark got captured and he realized that Stark Industries was supplying the enemy with the weapons.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. It felt like we were watching that on the news. You just see all these military ammunition, trucks, cars, helicopters, planes.
That Black Hawk thing was crazy. I remember hearing about like a week or two later. No, how there were pictures of them flying our Blackhawks and having people hanging from it.
I believe it.
Yeah, like by a noose and shit like that.
I believe it.
Just
yes.
like
yes.
I don't know.
They're like, oh, well, because the military, the American military was like, oh, it's okay that we leave that stuff there. They don't know how to maintain it. They can't fix it. So we'll just let them use it till it breaks. And I'm like, really, bro? You think they're just gonna let it stay broken, huh?
No, they've got engineers.
They've been
got
fighting
people that are more than
for longer than we've
more
been
than smart enough to be able to fucking fix it.
Come on now. It literally feels like we're in a movie. You know what I mean? So at any time, if anybody sees, an Iron Man outfit coming from Afghanistan, please feel free to post that so we can hop on this. It's the beginning of the MCU. You know what I'm saying?
It's the beginning of the MCU. This is how the MCU started. That's depressing, but yeah, just a little bit of that in a nutshell.
It's just nuts. But I didn't have an issue with the situation. Like we told you guys, me and Lynn, we like to stay on top of the politics, but not be in the politics. Yep. So of course, I watched this on the news. Philip DeFranco talked about it. I love Philip DeFranco like Lynn loves fucking Joe Rogan, okay? So, yeah, he loves him.
My boy Joe.
Yeah, he got COVID. But
he got sick.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So, it's just crazy because, as all of you are aware, obviously, if you live anywhere in the world, you've heard of COVID. So, with all these crackdowns and shutdowns and things going on, we're bringing over people by the thousands from another country over here. When us, the U.S. citizens, are being bared down on to get vaccinated.
You know what? Even to go outside of the whole vaccination thing, someone brought it to my attention that it's crazy how we were willing to bring in thousands of refugees from Afghanistan, but then when people from Mexico were trying to come over,
that's what I was going to say.
We were putting them in cages and throwing them back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so weird how you can pick and choose what
it's whatever fits the narrative.
Yeah, whatever fits the narrative.
Don't get it twisted. A lot of those Hispanic immigrants did get in. We let a lot of them in, especially the pregnant ones. The children, the orphan children, because some parents just took their children to the border and left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We let a lot of those people in. So now we got a lot of the people from Mexico. We got a bunch of people from Afghanistan.
Right.
That's not even to mention all the people that were already coming over here from, like, say, Cuba, from some of these other countries that have it pretty bad. China, they're coming over here from Japan.
There was a girl, I was just listening to, again, sorry, because I know Joe Rogan's my go-to, but I was just listening to the podcast with him, and it was a girl by the name of Yeonmi. How do you pronounce that?
Yeon?
Yeonmi Park. She was explaining how because North Korea is the one that's communist, isn't it?
I thought all of Korea was communist.
No, South Korea and North Korea, they're two different things.
That's fair. So it's probably North Korea.
So North Korea is the one that's like Kim Jong-un kind of runs, and how they made that cold depiction of Kim Jong-un and Majin Buu, how they look after the same. I was listening to the episode on the podcast, and it was so depressing. I literally couldn't finish it because she was explaining how, like, there are forms of execution. Like, if in the middle of the night an inspector comes into your house and the picture of Kim Jong-un in your house has dust on it, they'll execute you on the spot.
They can, yes.
They'll execute you on the spot for that. If you have an animal, they'll execute you.
Because he's God.
Yeah, in their mind, he depicted that the Bible was a book about him.
Yes.
So he gave everybody a Bible, but changed the wording of him being Jesus.
Yes.
And it's just it's crazy to think
he's the Savior. He's the first coming of Christ. Well, So it's just, and it's mind blowing when you hear about stuff like that, because then you look over here in the States and we're like, the fuck?
It's just, it sucks. Like to not dig on it too much. When people bitch and complain about how hard their lives are here, and then I hear about things that's happening on the outside, it really humbles my mental, because it's like I have nothing to complain about.
Yes. Well, and the reason the people were fleeing Afghanistan is they feared persecution, for one. It's the Taliban is old school, so women didn't have rights. They couldn't come out without their I'm really bad with a lot of these words. I call it a burqa. It's probably not a burqa. With their covering, and all their clothing.
They can only show their faces,
stuff like that. They were becoming a little more progressive with the LGBTQ stuff over there, and that's really, really looked down upon by the Taliban.
I didn't even know that they were making that an option over there.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, they were progressing. It wasn't a full-blown thing, but women had just really gotten their rights out there. Women could drive and vote and blah, 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 blah. So they were worried, the Taliban coming in, we're going to be, oppressed all over again, especially the women and people who were not in line with their narrative. And so, I get it. And, going off what Lynn said, it's crazy because people have it so much worse in other places than we do, and I try not to, you have to kind of split it in two. Because it's almost like you don't want to make your problem seem insignificant because they're legitimate.
They're legitimate.
Your problems are big.
Somebody told me one time that the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yes.
Meaning, at that moment in time, it's the worst you've ever felt because you've never experienced anything worse. So to compare to somebody that's gone through worse shit, I don't know because I haven't experienced it.
Right, so, and that's the thing. You don't want to downplay your issues because your issues still need a resolution. They still need to be looked at. But it's one of those things, if you have a superficial problem, like as we would call, I'm using my air quotes, like a first world issue, like, oh no, my Louis V's are missing and I don't want to wear those because I don't have a matching outfit with anything else.
Right.
That's a first world issue.
That is a first world issue.
You know what I mean? However, depression, anxiety.
Anxiety, that's,
things like that.
I'm seeing that more and more, that people have it no matter what the fuck's going on in their life, just because it's the human nature to want to feel that way.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's like I feel for these people, but also I don't want to downplay the problems we still have here on our home base, which is trying to find somewhere to live, making enough money, trying to find a good job, trying not to catch COVID, trying to get vaccinated, dealing with all the shenanigans, because right now me and Lynn, we try our best to come at you guys with like positive information and give you good vibes and things like that. But we got to be upfront and honest about this is just the way things are going right now. Not saying nothing good is happening in the world, but that's being far overshadowed by all the shenanigans.
It's just to put the information out just for people that aren't aware, because like I said, in my line of work with what I do now, I'm more involved with politics than I would like, because I work for a big corporate company now rather than just a casino, and I oversee a lot of stuff with the CDC, with what's going on over there, because I'll get emails saying, because it's security, it's a security thing where they're like, oh, just be prepared. This happened here, so there might be refugees sneaking in over here, and that might mean that there's a possible terrorist attack in Las Vegas. So you have to be prepared for your officers that run the whole strip. And it's like, because I'm a defensive tactics specialist now, rather than just a security officer, my job is to train people on how to detain and deal with cybersecurity, with terrorism, stuff like that. Like it's crazy how something that's not even in our state or country affects me and my profession. Same thing for you. Like it's just like,
with my company, that's all we hear about. That's all we hear. It's funny, my company, I guess they got smart and figured out how to train us, or to train us without using those old stupid like McDonald's videos where it's like, hey man, hey bro, you want some weed? Hey bro. So like with my company, we do logistics and stuff. We have a new training video they sent us for being aware of people getting into the back end of the systems or hacking the systems, extracting, personal or company data from you, blah, blah, blah. And so they put it in this cool little show. Actually, I really hope they put it out as a legitimate show. It's actually pretty tight. It's about a hacker who infiltrates a big company, and he's like stealing their data while intermingling with the people he works with. So it's almost like a hitman thing, but he's a hacker. He's just stealing the information. It's to teach us, the agents, how people may try to infiltrate the company and steal data.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's hokey, but the overall video is pretty cool. But yeah, even we have to deal with it. Like, don't talk about politics at work with the callers. Don't discuss company policy and blah, 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 blah. And I get it. It's a big corporation. What can you do? We all work for somebody. So you gotta abide by the rules.
Right.
But I felt it was very interesting that we did all this work in Afghanistan. We spent all this money, sent over all these supplies and munitions, and the soldiers, the men and women that died over there, just to secure the safety for a lot of these people and give them kind of like a foundation to build upon. We literally took our big toe and put it out of the door, and the new kid came running in and just pushed us the rest of the way out. He was like, no, you can go now.
Yeah.
So it was like, why the fuck were we there? What were we doing?
It's always
what were we doing? Because at first it was about oil. It's like, oh, we gotta do, because it was during
supposedly
Bush.
because even going into the whole oil aspect, you've seen how the gas prices went up here. In Nevada, let alone because Biden made a valid point that we're only mining oil from the states, meaning that he's known for months we were going to get out of Afghanistan. Because that's where most of our oil was coming from.
We had to find another spot because we were buying super tankers full of oil from Afghanistan. You know what I mean? From the Middle East. I won't say specific to Afghanistan, but from the Middle East.
Right.
We're shipping super tankers of the shit. So yeah, I get it that we have to find other ways, but then that kind of goes back to what me and you talking about with, you know, this whole COVID thing, how everybody's kind of pointing the finger at everybody else. Mm-hmm. But if you really go back to pre-COVID, a lot of the stuff you ship is from China. Mm-hmm. A lot of the imports we buy are exported from China. You know, a lot of our cars get built. We're shipping in cars from Germany, Japan, China, everywhere. We're sending out cars all over the place. We're sending out goods. We're exporting and importing. We were all friends. We were all working together. You know what I mean? There's very few things in America that was built by Americans, like as far as what we're getting from overseas and the stuff we use nowadays, because it's cheaper.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a lot cheaper to pay somebody $10 in the Philippines to build you a MacBook.
That's what's coming in with your department more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
Getting a lot of people that can do a whole lot.
Yes, we're
the same
a lot
work
of our
for cheaper
outsourced
amounts.
work. Yeah. So instead of paying $5 million to 30 people, I'm going to pay $500 to 1,000 people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You see it coming before it actually is coming, and then when it actually lands on your doorstep, it's like, I'm not surprised.
Act like it doesn't exist. That's my problem. When you try to as a worker, when you try and legitimize the situation, and you try and, you know, just bring more awareness to it, you get, job security. Oh, be thankful you have a job. Don't worry about it. Don't do this. Don't do that. And it's like, but I'm an adult. I'm a critical thinker.
Yeah.
I can see this 10, 20, 30 years down the road.
Yeah, which kind of leans off into the same thing of when you start thinking like that, it's best to find a different path for you, because how mean you think when it comes to critical thinking. I'm always told this a lot, is that I predict before something happens all the fucking time. And then they're like, dude, can't you just let something happen? I was like, if it wasn't so fucking predictable in my head, I would let it go. But then it's like, I could be watching a movie, this is going to happen, and then they're going to kiss, and then all of a sudden the guy's going to get shot.
Yes.
And sure fucking enough, they kiss and the guy gets shot, and everybody looks at me like, well, how did you know that? And I was like, it's fucking predictable.
I've seen it 1,000 times before.
So it's like, are you being optimistic by looking into the future and preparing yourself for bullshit?
Right.
Or are you being a pessimist and being like, you're just being negative because you're just assuming shit's going to happen?
I think you have to kind of spin the wheel. You dictate what you're going to be per day, because no one can be an optimist 24/7. I'm probably one of the most optimistic people I know in my own little
try
group.
To be.
You know what I mean? Like,
what's happening?
Lynn gets annoyed with how optimistic I can be sometimes, because I refuse to just be like, this isn't going to work.
I hate it.
I refuse to just be like, no, we'll just give up. I have my days. I have my days where I'm a pessimistic, pissed off old man. Like, I am full blown Master Roshi minus the perversion. Full blown Master Roshi, where I'm just like, look, y'all youngins, y'all stay over there, do what you do. I'm gonna stay on my own little island. Y'all don't bother me unless I want y'all to come over here. That's how I feel. Like, I just want to have my own little island and be left alone. Mm-hmm. But obviously you can't do that, because as a human being, we need to interact with each other.
Interaction comes with, the only way you're going to be able to expand your knowledge of a lot of shit that's going on is that you have to have communication. One thing that me and D have different is that I'm constantly around people.
Yes.
All the fucking time.
Yes.
Which is what made me a very pessimistic individual.
Yeah.
And then D has to work from home, so he's not in as much contact as he is. So the optimism.
Contact.
No contact. Alone. You can be optimistic because your purity of seeing things hasn't been tainted yet. My shit is constantly tainted because I'm constantly coming across so many different individuals and so much. I'm seeing all the negative shit before it happens. Like, I give you the heads up before something's going to happen in town because I hear about it days in advance.
I mean, it's the same thing that's why I left security, because I got jaded where I just walked around expecting the worst of people.
You expect it.
And I hated it because it gave me a terrible outlook on myself. Like, okay, well, what bad thing are you going to do? Because everybody else is doing something wrong. What are you going to do? How bad is it going to be? Who's going to have to get it? I literally started running scenarios of me having to take out people before it even happened. So then when it happened,
it gets you in that scenario.
My coworkers are like, you seem way too excited about that takedown, bro. I was like, because I saw it happening.
You already knew it was coming. You're already preemptively preparing for it. But
so it's almost like I had to get away, you know what I mean, from the dark side. But you can't help how deep you get in, because if the pay is good enough, you're gonna deal with it.
Security pays well.
You know what I mean?
To say it, security pays well.
It pays decent if you're armed. Yeah. You know, if you're armed and you have the necessary know-how, like Lynn. That's why I didn't go anywhere security. I didn't want to be armed. And that's really kind of that is where the big bucks are. If you carry a gun doing security, you're pretty much going to get the best of the best. If you're ex-military, X Metro, if you know somebody, you'll fast track right on up there.
True.
But at the same time, you have to, it's almost like being a YouTube moderator. You know, they have the moderators that have to screen all of these dark videos before.
Oh, yeah. That's a mental fuck.
You're that guy, though. Because if you think about it, you're getting, so like somebody's drunk, vomiting, abusive, whatever. You have to go handle that so that the people who are acting nice and kind and here to spend money can have a good time.
You see it because you did security, and it's funny is when I was teaching an officer training course last week, because when I do is out of 4 weeks out of the month, I do 1 week officer. Second one is train the trainer, where I'm training already previously hired officers to become defensive tactic instructors to work underneath me. And then the third week is officers, new hires again, and the fourth week would be an admin week to kind of put shit together. This last week, one of the guys that I trained the week prior to, he works in the same department as me, but his background was surveillance for Virgin Hotel. And then before that, he was working for the Marriott in a different state. So he's never really been a field officer. And the first thing that he said, because we had a big class, there was only 5 of us teaching and a class of 45. So we're horribly outnumbered when it comes to training. So it's never about being able to not teach the moves. It's just more or less about being able to have the eyes to make sure people aren't making bad habits.
Yes.
One of the first things, and when it comes to teaching people that have never done law enforcement or security, which as a civilian, you need to have some kind of knowledge about what happens, especially in Vegas, to know to be able to protect yourself, because everybody's so quick to go run to the police for help. Right. But it's like, you can't all the time.
Well, what if
it's like
if
I have a paper cut on my finger and then I'm told I need to go to the hospital. Am I going to go to the hospital all the fucking time every time I get a paper cut? You have to learn to be able to deal with your own shit. Right. One of the instructors, I didn't want to undermine him, and it was his first week of helping teach, but he is the same level as me. He's an actual specialist, opposed to the other ones are just instructors from other properties. He told the officers, you will never have to put somebody in restraints by yourself. And I had other guys that I just trained the week before at Mandalay that worked with me, and they all looked at me at the same time, staring at me, and I looked across the room, and I went, no. I shook my head super fast, and they were like, oh, okay. So I pulled him to the side. I let him do his thing for a minute, and then I know it was shitty, but I had to let him realize his mistake. Yes. Because then officers in the academy kept coming up to me saying, hey, so we just wait to go hands-on with somebody before, as long as there's backup,
should we wait for backup?
And I was like, I told him, I was like, no, what he meant was that you may have backup. He's like, well, he said that you can't respond at all without backup. No. I was like, let's put it this way. You walk into a restaurant or something like that, and you're on duty, and you see that this guy's wife is flirting with another person, so he gets pissed off and he hits his fucking wife, and then he just starts going in on her. Are you going to sit there and just let him fucking finish? No, you have to intervene. Yes. Backup or not. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. So when I told the DTI guy, he was like, oh shit. He goes, I didn't know I had to be that specific. Yes. You have to be that specific. Yes. You literally have to tell
people
him, because
hang on your every word.
Every single word.
Yes.
Because it's the concept of being a civilian when it comes to not knowing what the fuck's going on. Opposed to an officer that's already been trained. Realistically, yeah, maybe sometimes I'll have backup. Yes. But there's a lot of times I got to do it on my own.
Well, you have to think of the misconception of security too. Even when I got into doing security, I thought, okay, I'm just going to be sitting around on my ass, at some like podunk property. Yeah, I know. Just writing
notes and
I forget the terminology. Yeah, just writing like hourly notes.
It's hourly notes,
walking the property, doing my button runs. Maybe talking to people. That's how my first like 1 or 2 posts were. I was at Citibank, another spot I forget the name of, and that's all I was doing, button runs.
Was that Citibank? The one off of on Sahara?
Yeah. Sahara and Durango.
Okay, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
that's my old stomping grounds, man. I had a blast over there, but that was really low level security work. It was just you sitting around in your, I call it monkey suit, and you just look pretty. You make people feel like they're protected. Yeah. I never actually had to do anything. Now, when I started working on the strip, that was a whole culture shock. Like my first week on the job, I had to tackle a dude and put him in cuffs. My suit, something had happened in front of McDonald's. Was a group of Hispanics got into a fight, and my suit, he was like, yo, detain that guy. And for some reason, I froze like a deer in headlights. I was like, you want me to detain him? He's like, yeah, cuff him. And I'm sitting there and I'm just blanking the fuck out.
You don't know what the fuck to do. I'm
like, so I just jump on the dude and I cuff him. And my boss is like, all right, good job. He's like, why did you hesitate? That was the first time I've handcuffed somebody.
And I try to explain that about all the people that I train. They're like, they think that it's going to go fluently, and like when we do the academy for a week's worth of time, it's not enough time to teach somebody.
Oh no!
We teach them like fuck 8 to 10 just joint manipulation and grappling moves and stuff like that.
Years worth. Of
and they're getting 5 days worth of it, and they're not even doing good at it. So it's like I don't expect perfection, but you need to be able to execute something.
Yes.
Because when shit happens, you can't hesitate.
Right.
If you're hesitating,
you need to take care of the people around you.
And now that I'm the head instructor for all this, there's a lot of people that I have to fail just because it becomes a safety thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh well, before that they just said that we could just finish it. And I was like, no, what's happening? People are getting hurt. Guests are getting hurt. The company's getting sued because everybody's fucking dogpiling and tackling rather than actually doing their job.
Right.
So, I don't know. We're reminiscing off topic when it comes to a lot of that stuff. Okay. What do we have for the timestamp as far?
We're at 30 minutes.
Already?
Yeah.
Then we're definitely going to have to wrap it up.
Let's go and wrap it up.
So, we officially, finally, for fuck's sake, actually have merchandise that you can go and pick up.
A merch store. I don't know. I was trying to find a rhythm, but it's
finally there.
We have it. It's on Teespring.
It's on Teespring.
We'll go ahead and include the description. We'll include the link in the description.
Yes.
That way, whether you're on Angry On.
What is Angry On?
I don't know what Angry On.
That sounds like a Digimon.
I choose you. Whether you're on Anchor, Patreon, or YouTube, you will be able to go to our Teespring store. We have 3. Count them. 1, 2, 3. Unos, dos, tres. Ichi san.
Oh my God.
Whatever other language you want to count to 3 in. We have 3 options. We have a men's tee, we have a women's tee, and we have a very beautiful mug.
I'm definitely
Lynn is in love with the mug.
I'm a big coffee drinker, so I'm definitely going to order it. I think it's a very casual one. We're going to be stacking in more things on top of that
as we go. We just want to make sure you guys like the product and that it's actually selling before we start adding more to it. You know, we don't want to, as Lynn brought to my attention, you won't bombard you with too many options.
I put it in. I was telling D about this because he got very, very good at putting together like catalogs of stuff. He went nuts. enough to the point where Teespring's locked the account and they're like, oops, there's a problem. There was so many things we couldn't even upload one, so we had to scrap all of it and just go with the basic 3. I put it in this mindset of, like, say you go to a restaurant and you stare at a menu and there's so many things on the menu you don't know what to get. It ends up overwhelming you to where there's so much diversity. You need simplicity when it comes to picking a few things. We're going to have more as it comes, but once these actually sell and we show that we can make profits, we can actually subscribe to Teespring.
We'll start doing more.
And we can actually do more. I'm talking hoodies, hats, backpacks, masks, coffee mugs, everything blender bottles, everything.
And trust me, for the ladies, those yoga pants, they're coming.
The yoga pants were dope,
so beautiful.
Yeah,
I want to make sure it looks good before I start posting some stuff, because I know women, you're very specific about your beauty, and I want to make sure we have everything to accommodate that for you.
I think it'll be good. We're going to be ordering 2 testers so we can give them a try.
Yes, you'll see them in our videos. You'll see them in our pictures.
We're going to have the pictures and the videos uploaded
to all of our patrons. We have not forgot all of our patrons. For those of you who are not a patron, consider even more so than you were before becoming a patron now. You get a free tee.
Free.
Maybe even a mug. We might be able to squeeze a mug in there. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. But you are going to get a free shirt.
Free, Seymour.
No questions asked. We will be reaching out to you individually, getting your sizes, and then we will make sure, actually, our patrons will probably be, they'll be the only people to get a free shirt for now. You know, if we start getting big and we start getting discount codes and stuff like that, you know, we'll do giveaways or something. But for now, patrons, you guys get first dibs. You get all the free stuff. For anybody who is not a patron, don't worry about it. You can easily sign up. We'll put the link in the description.
Super cheap.
Go ahead and check it out. However, if you're not a patron and you can't give or you can't subscribe like that, don't worry about it. Just head over to Teespring, do a one-time buy. We're going to get a kickback from it. We love you all the same. Nothing changes.
We appreciate it.
You know what I mean?
Keep it coming.
So keep an eye out for it. Go ahead and check the description and go to the link. Go now. Pause it. Pause the episode. I know it's at the end. You don't have to wait for the end. Pause it. Go order something. Come back and then listen to the end. Okay? All right. Just in case you missed it at the beginning, feel free to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Anchor. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're all over the freaking place. You can find us anywhere you want. We also have a website, projectairwaves.com. What?
Yes, Queen. Like there should be a snap in there.
Yes. Batch. Yes. No, it reminds me of Kelly.
It's Kelly.
What's that her name?
From.
Do you remember the dude that dressed like a girl? And he's like, oh my God, shiz.
Oh yeah, let's get some.
That was
shiz.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes. Kelly came back.
These shoes are $300.
I don't know if he's still around.
I don't know. I'd have to see.
Let her borrow that top.
Yeah, yes. I remember that.
All right, but thank you guys so much for listening. I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Project Airwaves. Keep your head in the clouds
and keep your feet on the ground, always moving forward.
You did so good. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Don't do anything stupid. Don't get COVID.
Bye.
Wear your mask.
Why?
If you
go
want,
away.
Get vaccinated.
Stop it.
Just
turn it off.
Okay, bye.